welcome to the Predator World 10-Ball Championship, proudly presented by CueSports International and hosted here at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino. We are into our Stage 2 matches, and this is a quarterfinal match. We'd like to thank our other sponsors for the event, Diamond Billiard Products, Kamui, and Omega. And now let's meet our opponents for this match. First up, hailing from the Netherlands, he is currently won the Diamond Las Vegas Open. We put our hands together for Niels Feijen. And his opponent, hailing from Germany. He is currently the WPA #1 ranked player in the world. We put our hands together for Joshua Filler. Gentlemen, you may lag for break and have a great match.
Well, we've got the best seat in the house for this match. Niels Feijen on the right, Josh Filler on the left. Alongside me, Jeremy Jones. I'm Jim White. We're going to be bringing you the action in this quarterfinal clash. And Jeremy, Niels didn't have a lot of time to prep for this match. He finished less than an hour ago, his match on the outside tables, a 10-9 win that went all the way against Wojciech Swiatek from Poland. And Josh Filler, well, he took out Jason Shaw. It was 10-8, but it was fast.
And I saw this in the last match. Niels actually changing his break, which is one of the first times I've seen him really change away from the full-on, pretty much 100% firm break that I've seen him use pretty much his entire career. And this may be the reason why. Just fantastic results here to start our match on the opening break shot.
And welcome everybody to the CSI Arena for the Predator World 10-Ball Championships, hosted here at the Rio in fabulous Las Vegas. $100,000 added event, carries WPA ranking points and a world title that goes along with it.
And just a huge event, one of the biggest we have now. And Niels, like you said, just about an hour's worth of break, a little more maybe, but coming off a hill victory in the final 16 match, he's not going to be too happy about that. Not saying it's going to hurt him, but he'd have much rather had to have been more full on the 5 and therefore just being able to stop the cue ball for the 6 in the lower left corner by the 10. So now he's got to roll the cue ball by the 8, so speed's a little crucial. Shouldn't be too tough. Could come 3 rails around. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, that's got to slow down now. That's a lot of speed, and that's a little bit more of that make sure stroke that I get around to the top side of that 6, and that's what happens. It can get away from you quickly. And so now he's got to draw the cue ball what appears 1 rail. He could maybe follow out by the 10-2 rails, and if that's offered, I think that's the way he'll go, but he may have to cue down on this. Okay, he can go by the 10-2 rails out somewhat in the position of the cue ball now for the 8.
Yeah, with the amount of pool that's going to be played here today, these guys got to be fit. When we're seeing more and more that fitness aspect that's coming into professional pool. Niels himself a real proponent of staying in shape.
And no coincidence that the guys realize that it's long days in the professional pool world, and even without the long days, you're just going to play better pool if you're feeling well, breathing well, and definitely not losing energy from match to match.
Well, for a break and run out to open his account here, the Terminator deposits the 10 and secures the opener. 1-0 in the race to 10. It's alternating break format, the 3-point rule in effect, so any combination of 3 balls pocketed or passing that head string constitute a legal break. And there's a 40-second shot clock as well in use in the CSI Arena here. And that keeps things ticking along nicely. And You don't expect to see players taking too much time. They've got one extension each per rack. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons the matches on the main table have finished a little quicker than on the outside tables, is that shot clock.
Yeah, and it may have a little bit to do with this table's a little less broken in just because we did have it resurfaced in between the Las Vegas Diamond Pro Open and here now the Predator World 10 Ball Championships. Speaking of pace, I know it wasn't a very difficult rack, especially to get started, but Niels kind of seemed like he picked up the pace a little bit off of what you might call normal. Now, a lot of collisions there near the center, but an opening one that he has to both pockets. Position will tell you which one he plays it to. Love to shoot the one in the, what would be the right pocket, lower right corner pocket on your screen, and go by the 5 if possible. Okay, nice shot. And for an opener, that was a little bit touchy going by that 5 ball.
A little testy, didn't miss the 5 by lots. Key shot here, though, drawing this back. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, he's got a nice line, though. He can come into the 7 just as, oh, wow, he got more on it than he ever dreamed. He thought he'd hit right of the 7, and a little bit fortunate that just because you say he missed his line, but I think the TV table will fool you how easy it draws sometimes. Okay, squeaked that one down.
Yeah, it looked like Niels was half out of his chair there. He was right behind that shot. Probably didn't think it was in.
Oh, what a talent we're watching right here. And
yeah, you didn't get a chance to see his last match against Jason Shaw. It's the best match that I've commentated at this event. I mean, it's such a high standard. Jason really didn't do much wrong. 10-8, Josh ended up beating him.
now I saw Jason just shortly after that, and as soon as I saw him, he kind of had one of them Jason Shaw looks and threw his hands up a little bit in the air. He says, "Mate, I never missed a ball, and I got beat 10-8."
13 break and runouts in the match.
Yeah. And these guys, they've just perfected the 10-ball break. It's a break that when you're hitting well, you actually get more shape on the 1 ball, more positional on the 1 ball than you do playing 9 ball.
Well, we've had 2 break and runouts here already, each successfully defending their break. That's the reason the score's 1-1.
Yeah, and a capacity crowd here for the Predator World 10-Ball Championships. It's been like that pretty much all week, not just because we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. A lot of pool fans, not only here this week, but in Las Vegas, period. Big pool city.
It's becoming a bigger pool city, the amount of events that are here now, and look like more coming their way.
Yeah, when you meet somebody and you talk about pool and you tell them, well, yeah, I play pool professionally, and that's what first thing, oh, so you go to Vegas and play pool, don't you? That's what they say, a lot of the amateur fans or even people that don't play much pool but have friends that go to Vegas and play in, like here, the BCAPL, and spend a lot of time in Las Vegas. Okay, now this end rail, and not a very firm one. Okay, missed that one on the wrong side. We've talked about it again all week. We'll say it one more time. If you're breaking like for there on the left and you glance across the right side of the 1, that's when you'll get a little more different outcome than what you're used to.
That was a dry break, and dry breaks have been pretty rare on this main table. With a chance here for filler. Feijen can only look on helplessly.
And again, somewhat like the last game, excuse me, it's all about this first shot on the 1, and ironically getting by the 5 ball somehow, probably just to the top rail for a cut on the 2. Oh, he's drawing this by them other balls. Okay, he got by that 5. He's not going to get elevated. Friendly little bump on the 7. So this should just be 1 rail out for the side, right? I I think the 3 may even go by the 4 in the corner. I don't like following this one. I know the 3 goes by the 10. But I think it's just draw the cue ball and use your talent, come on 1 row out for the 3 in the side pocket, I believe.
Yeah, the way that Josh tends to attack balls, he does let that cue go. He likes to fire at balls. 21 years of age.
Okay, he's going forward with the cue ball, so that tells me he's going by the 3. Okay, really nice. And I got to watch Josh over a year ago before he won all these big titles. I got to watch him play a few other disciplines in pocket billiards, that being 8-ball and straight pull, and man, he could play that really well also. So not just a young straight shooter. I mean, he is that also, but not just that. Very well versed in the pool games. Niels, no emotion there. That's Josh.
Never even looked at him, did
Yeah,
he?
and now placed his chalk on his quarters over there. Probably as you shoot this in the corner, I think rolling in the side, you can roll past the 8. You can hold the ball, so he's just going to pinch hold this. Oh, he's going to the rail.
Well, he's looking like he carried the same form into this match that he had against Jason Shaw. Half a chance, and he's making it look like it's plain sailing.
Yeah, and on to a 2-1 lead and going to be breaking in game 4. And one thing about Filler is when I first saw him play, he's a very heavy striker of the cue ball. Tends to play a lighter punch shot a little bit more, but in the last year and a half, he's developed a little sweeter motion at times when he needs it. And I think that's just completing, trying to get to where he has every part of the game whenever it's needed.
It's not always easy to play against a player like Filler either. You know, he plays at that speed and can be very intimidating because he just exudes confidence around the table. Almost get surprised if he ever does miss. And you never want to wish your opponent any bad luck either, Jeremy. You wait in your chair patiently and want to make sure that you're ready should an opportunity present itself.
And did he make one? You got the 4-railer, and that's been one that's been very consistent. He's got a nice starter on the one again. He's got a 3-9 combination that's going to need shot, but shouldn't be too tough. And here, like you said, Jim, not barely the referee could get the rack off the table before young Josh Filler was ready to start this run. And this kind of shot, just easy power on that kind of shot. And you notice how it comes out slowly, which is what you want. You're always in control that way. It's not just flying all over the place. And a little funny here because he's got a little angle, so he may have to go forward to the rail, but he doesn't want the 3 to come out too much. And I think it was you and I that there's just few players in the event, and there's a few more than a few, but there's a few you think of that can just kind of take over a match. And not taking anything away from Niels, but what I mean by that is just with any opening at all, it doesn't take much.
Well, Niels broke dry. That's all it's taken. And Filler making a strong bid to go 3-1 up.
He played for the angle there, so he didn't have to get further away from the 6 and also not over the 10. And real natural to just come across. And I'm interested to see, Jim, like I said, that Niels played the first rack with a little bit more pace around the table than we normally see. And now after suffering 3 game loss in a row, I wonder if he breaks and gets a shot here. If he starts to slow the match down a little bit, meaning go back to Niels' pace a little bit and work on Filler as well as get into form. Because he doesn't want to try and match the pace, I don't think, with Filler.
No, that's the important thing. But Niels has got the experience. He'll know how to even try and slow Filler down. Probably try and monopolize the table time that he gets and keep Filler in his chair for as long as he can.
Yeah, it's like the shot clock. It's there to be used. Certain players will use it a little bit more and stay in that longer rhythm. But I would definitely try to make sure I'm not making any mistakes, and that would probably be taking a hair more time.
Yeah, there's different types of gamemanship, Jeremy, aren't there?
And that's part of it,
yep.
yeah. We call it, back in the day, slow walking your opponent a little bit.
Well, 3-1 deficit.
Okay, got the balls on the side. Is the 7 going to hurt him? It's going to hurt him a little bit. May give him a cross-corner bank, which if it's on, it's close to not being on, but I think it's okay. If it's on, though, it offers position down on the 2.
Yeah, Niels also a proponent of other disciplines on the pool table. Plays them all very well. Straight pool.
Well, he's probably the best European one-pocket player that I've seen. When he was in the States years ago, going around the country playing some tournaments and a few action matches. Pretty impressive for the short amount of time he played one-pocket. He just one of those guys that gets it. Understands how things are supposed to manufacture and flow through the games. Okay, he's got to have real good speed on the 1 because the cue ball's not going to get covered up.
Yeah, I think that was more about safety than it was attacking that corner with the 1 ball.
And if he can't see the 1, he'll probably kick right there in between the 1 and 7 with a lot of high right, call the 1 in the side. Yeah, that's what I would do. It could easily go straight in, maybe off the 3. This is another one. If you want to hold the cue ball, don't hit it too hard. Yeah, you see when you, oh, okay, he made it. But you see the cue ball, he put a little more speed and it got away from him. Some of those angles. He's going to shoot at this with an 8 ball there, I believe. He's got a little bit of a big pocket if he shoots it to the upside, I think. He could lay the cue ball down behind the 8, trying to bank the 2 up, but I think he's supposed to shoot at this. The problem is he doesn't want to slow roll it, and he's got to put some speed on it to get all the way back around the table for the 3 in the side, most likely.
Filler using his extension, the 10-second announcement.
Okay, he's trying to put him up underneath the 8, but he needs the 2 to travel. This is a touchy ball to get behind the 8. Yeah, and he's not going to be so happy with that. That's why that position he was in, I may have looked at shooting at that one, especially Josh Filler. Okay, so this is cut the 2 to the side rail. Let it go in between the 7-9 down table and try and float the cue ball back behind the 8, I think. Looks like it lays pretty natural. He's looking at the cross corner. Oh, man, I wouldn't want to send that 2 near a pocket. I'll tell you what he could do. He could just play the 2 softly to the rail and pass the 7-9 and use the 10. It's not bad either. Okay, he played it with a heavier hit. He felt like he could control the cue ball better. Now, the one thing about when you're playing such a great player as Filler that does pretty much everything well, or like a Chang or one of the Coe brothers, and Niels himself is don't let yourself look at a shot and say, man, I got to do more with this just because I'm playing him. Play what's fairly standard and what you'd normally be doing against most players. But just that kind of thing right there. How hard is that to edge that ball and move the 2? How far? 8 inches over? Run the cue ball some 9 feet down the table and 9 feet back?
Well, 21-year-old eyes don't hurt either.
Oh, and nerves. Okay, so this is kicking 2 rails towards the side, and something tells me this angle on this slick table. Is he hitting down on this? Yeah, he's hitting down because it was really hard to make it bite and get underneath. So he's trying to draw it a bit. He's going to need a roll. And I believe he got a bit of a roll. May see a kick on a 2-7 combination here, possibly.
Yeah, not quite a clear path to that 2.
There's something going on. There's an issue with the shot clock.
Well, Josh is putting his hands up, but the referee's looking over. I don't know exactly whether they have resolved that or not.
Yeah, it seems like we have a referee and then we have a shot clock. Someone running the shot clock. Now he's looking at the 2-rail kick to the back of the 2 ball and to see if he can do anything positive with that. Okay, so he's called the opposite side pocket where he's standing. So he's trying to kick 2 rails and run the cue ball. And see, that's just percentage play, Jim. That's just being a really solid, smart player, knowing that let me run the cue ball and take my chances, at least that Niels has got to come with a tough one. Okay. I guess this tells me the 4 doesn't pass the 8. Oh, he played the safety and it looks like the 4 does pass the 8 to me, and if the 4 did pass the 8, I think Niels has got to get down and bury that one, knock it in and come across the table. We may not know because Filler may try and draw position on the 4 on the side, but even if it was tight, and it appears the 4 went by the 8, so.
Swinging his arm to get that cue ball further down the table. But 4 looks like it goes in the side past the 5.
No, he's banking it. He's not taking a chance at that little pocket. I think it had a pocket. If he had gotten nice on it, he would have shot it. But otherwise, I think a good decision. Don't take any chances on that little bitty portion of a pocket. You got to ease it in the side.
Yeah, position was guaranteed with the bank, Jeremy.
Yeah, and those guys, that's a 9 out of 10 for them. Okay. The reason why he's looking at this is not so much position on the 7, but with the 9-10 there, he's got to make sure he can get clear to the 8. He may have to draw this with inside. Okay, he can get by the 9, no problem, with low outside. The reason why I say low inside is because inside offers a thinner hit, right, on the 7, so you go by the 9 easier. If you hit low outside, you're hitting the 7 much thicker, and now you could catch the bottom of the 9. Okay, got by it. Talking to it a little bit. I'll just cheat this off the rail. Oh, okay, he stayed on the rail.
He's going to have to slow roll this one too. Maybe able to play it and come off that side cushion with the cue ball, but
yeah, he may come to the back of the 10 instead of having to slow roll. Okay, he could just stay on a nice position for the 10.
Well, he has asserted himself here. He's established early control of this match. That again was from Niels' break. A 4-1 lead to Josh Filler, the reigning World 9-ball champion, looking to take out the reigning Las Vegas Open champion. Feijen was on course for the double here. The two events in succession played at the Rio. That would have been some task winning these two events. The first event had just over 100 players in it. Ended up beating Miško Fortunski in the final of the 9-ball. But he's hooked a tiger by the tail here.
And Josh has really broke the balls and got a nice starter on the one. Every break. Like you said, 13 breaking runs in his opening final 16 match. And at the one and the object balls, they continue. Oh, look at this. So a funny one here to start. Can't get out the one. The one's so close to the pocket, the cue ball's near it, but the four's got it covered up. May have to roll out and try and tie up the 3 and 9 here. I think that's probably a good play. You want to extend the game in this position, and that offers a nice little shot where you can kick at the one and lay up on top of it. Don't want to, well, that's not exactly what he wanted. Sure would have liked to have gotten that 3 up underneath that 9 and made things that much more difficult for whoever does get control of this table. And either way, I don't think this is going to be an issue if you pass the shot or not. I think it's going to be a couple shots away before anyone gets control. Like you can see, Niels is going to shoot away here. He's got to be a little careful with it. But if he's to get the snooker, right? If you get the snooker here, well, Josh isn't going to like shoot crazily at the one and open it up. He'll try and play another maneuver of some sort. Okay, so now he's not snookered, so now he'll kick soft again. So whether Niels passed that rollout or not, I don't think it was a big deal. Oh, that's a little hard there now. Yeah, okay. He's not going to like this, I don't think. I think Niels can shoot this one away 3 rails and kind of shove the cue ball forward. It's a touchy shot, but the problem with it is, can he reach it, Jim?
Yeah, I'm thinking if this was Filler shooting as a left-hander, it'd be easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, not bad. Let's say Filler might end up. Well, he let the cue ball get away a little more there. I thought he would just. Of course, you want to make sure you make a little clean strike on it and you don't foul. So easy to put a little extra speed on that type of shot. Yeah, it takes some time here. He's looking at trying to knock the one away and float the cue ball up on the 4. And that shot's usually very doable, but when the cue ball's so close to the one, it's easy to miss-hit the cue ball and not get up on the 4. A great shot. And that was a little mistake by Filler, shooting so far away. You know, that little clip shot, he's supposed to be nestled up on that one ball. So the experienced Terminator, Niels Feijen, getting the best of this tactical battle.
He's called the corner pocket. One cushion hit.
And Josh is very good at the kick shot as well. Really expect him to hit it. Making it's a little stretch, but you never know. Well, what's this 10 ball going to do? Well, there you go, Niels. Time to get started and get on the board. And this is on Filler's break.
This was Filler's break, so Niels, even though he'd be 4-2 down if he completes the run out here, he's only effectively 1 break down.
Right. Okay, this is all right, especially since the 5's pretty near the pocket. Meaning just get out there towards the floor. You can handle a lot of angles to move the cue ball. You can handle somewhat straight if you can get all the way over. But I think just come out of there kind of smoothly to the center of the table. I don't think you have to hit the 9. Okay. That should work. This is this 3-rail shot that you really got to develop if you're going to play better rotation or better pull period. Really helps when it comes to getting back in line, you might say, on a lot of shots.
Well, it's a shot, too, that it really takes the side pockets out of the equation when you can spin the cue ball off the 3 cushions. Like, he'll probably just try and find that gap between the 8 and 10, though.
I think that's right. Don't try to come all the way down. Oh, my.
Or between the 8 and 9.
Yeah, he just caught the point. Didn't get quite enough right spin to take on that shot and dive towards that bottom rail. Just really kind of threatened that corner, to be honest with you, which I think all of us never thought was in play. So he's kind of turned the cue ball loose a little bit coming up and down the table. Doesn't want to get a thick here and catch the 8. Thick hit here and catch the 8. Okay, that was nice. And a lot of cue ball speed. And we'll see what angle it sets up for. It's going to be all right.
Nice recovery, that one from Feijen. Pretty important rack, really. Trailing 4-1.
Huge.
And it was Filler's break. Again, as a reminder, if Niels would have gone down 5-1, well, the alarm bells might have been going off. At 4-2 and having secured the break back again, no time to panic. Let's go back to the game plan and execute.
Here with our second quarterfinal, and you can see our matchup. In our third quarterfinal, it'll be a rematch of one of yesterday's winterside matches between Alex Pagalang and Clinching. Then we got Masato Yoshioka against Tyler Steyer in the final quarterfinal at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, he's the only qualifier, is the Japanese player.
Still remaining.
Still remaining.
Oh, yeah, we saw the broadside. That's twice that he's broke from the left and glanced on the right. And Filler flew out of the chair to get that cue ball. Trying to get that 3-game lead back. And it's probably I guess, for a long time anyways, it's been the most sickening feeling in pool when you scratch on the break. Nothing worse. Okay, that one checked nicely. So we'll have to see. It appears the 7 passes the 9, or else he'd be taking a little more time thinking about this 3 to the 6 to the 7. I think he'll just float this, huh, Jim? I mean, maybe kill it a little bit, but I mean, stay on that side of the table is my point.
Yeah, it's not going to take him long to get that 3-rack cushion back again.
Another one of those guys, though, that you see come along and they just grip the cue ball with the tip so well. Just everything.
I
just
remember
really pure.
I remember when I was still playing snooker and I got the chance to play Jimmy White a few times. I almost the way that he feathered the white, it was almost like he caressed the white with,
Right.
with the tip. Just had a completely different hit than a lot of players. And Filler's a little like that.
Yeah, you've seen it through the years, and Buddy Hall was a lot like that. Earl was like just a very unique strike of the ball. Now I think somebody in the crowd, and the referee now moved into position as well. The referee's we got a man on the cell phone in the crowd. They're making sure he's ready. Well, young Josh has got to understand, though, none of these fans are here to bother any of the players. Just the cell phone is a difficult thing to lay down for some people these days.
Yeah, namely my daughter.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But you know something, as Neil sits, that was manufactured by his scratch on the break, and he knows it. Trailing 3 racks again.
Yeah, just what he didn't want. You don't want this in any match, but again, one of those players going to be very hard to fight back from 5-2. Even though we're going to 10, and pool balls do all kinds of crazy things, but if they get any kind of equal opportunity at the table from here, you got to figure Filler is a huge favorite to win the match.
Well, you were talking about the next match that's going to be upcoming, Pagulayan and Koping Chung. I mean, Alex had quite a match against Ralph Souquet leading into that one. 10-9, he was down, 7-5, 8-6. Got back to 9-8 in front, then it went 9-9, but that was the longest. No, actually, Niels' match was the longest.
Yeah,
of the last 16.
A little bit longer, just a rack longer, really. As far as now, is he going to cross side this and draw the cue ball around the 9-10 with low right English? I like it. I'll have some speed on it and watch a little arc of the cue ball. Oh, you don't want to play the 6, I don't think, with the 8 being there. Maybe he's just playing safe. Okay, played the 6, but look how nice the speed to hold the 2 up. And now this one here is a little touchy. Can't go forward. He's going to run into the 9 and 10, so he's got to draw across. Now the slick table, don't get too much draw. The side pockets, oh my.
Well, he caught the 9, and that's what took the cue ball off its intended path.
And I really think that had a little something to do with not wanting to get too much draw. He wanted to shove it out to that angle and then bring it back. Here's another one of those feather shots. I don't think he can play it thick enough to try and get behind the 9 with the cue ball. Maybe he can. That's what he'll do if he can't. Oh, yeah, that's what I would have been worried about. Anytime you're applying that right English, cue ball swerves out to the left. And a huge ball in hand and a huge moment, what looked like a huge moment for Josh Filler to go up 4 games, but now Niels Feijen, ball in hand again.
Yeah, that trademark wide stance that Niels has. Opposite eye, the way he sights.
A lot of people don't realize Niels is another one of those guys that throws the cue a little bit on certain shots. On the backhand, it'll actually come out of his hand and he regrips it as the stroke comes through. It's more of the follow shots or more of the punch shots. Draw strokes, not so much. And you'll never see anybody in snooker do that, but in pool, it's a lot more common with the better players than you think. Efren Reyes, many of the Filipinos, Niels, Jason Klatt. I actually saw Mario He and Albin Ocean do it a little bit as well on certain shots.
Well, a mistake from Filler, and Niels capitalizes. Filler has lost the last 2 breaks and still finds himself in front 5-3.
Well, Niels has had 1 dry break and a scratch in the last, so he's got to shore some things up on the break. Not only to got to play well, he's got to produce on the break. With a 5-3 lead, he's got to do that. 5-3 down, that's really needed.
And tomorrow, it'll be the 2 semifinals and the final, starting at noon local time, noon Pacific.
3:30 for the second semifinal. I believe 8 o'clock for the final.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sticking to this end rail break, and it's definitely not close to 100%. Pretty controlled. Okay, real nice on the hit on the 1 that time. You can see the cue ball didn't wander at all to the right. A little movement on the 10. It should cut this to a 1-game deficit here. I think he's just got to come out 1 rail above the 7 for the 2 in the what would be the upper left corner if you're looking at your screen now. Not much to think about here. Just get nice and heavy on the 2. Don't get anything extreme.
Yeah, and both of these players know that this will be the final match they'll play today, so they just want to survive this one, and they'll be able to go have a nice dinner, get an early night's rest, and go through their preparation for finals day. And that'll probably include a little bit of practice time even later on tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Put in that time. Okay, coming up for the side pocket. And a pretty open lane to guide the cue ball down between the 7-5 and back up. Nothing really too near a rail, and so main thing, keep it pretty simple here.
Jeremy, as Niels is eyeing up this 4, what about superstition? Is there much in the way of superstition that enters into a few of these players'
And
preparation?
What,
Like
if they've been doing the same things
Exactly.
over and yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know,
Like
I mean,
you that has had a smash burger twice a day since you've been here. If Niels has been doing the same thing, well, I know where he's going to dinner tonight. He's not going to change
he's
at all.
not changing. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
What about clothing? You have a lucky shirt, or a certain pair of socks that are pretty.
Well, I don't know about that now. We have to. Hygiene's important.
only if you're the only one knowing about it.
Right. But yeah, definitely. Especially to start your day, kind of. I've been in a lot of tournaments. We travel to new places, and you find a good breakfast place that you really like the food, and guess what? You won your first 2 matches or so eating that breakfast. You probably go there again.
They'll see you again.
Yeah.
I think every major sport has its athletes in it, and they've all got their little quirky little superstitions. And
Yeah, for sure.
well, Niels is back in the hunt.
And he looked a little unsettled earlier, even in his chair at times, like he was maybe applying a lot of pressure to himself. And now just the last couple games with the opportunity, looks a little more refreshed. Still trailing a game, though.
Well, he did trail. He ended up winning his preceding match 10-9 over Swiatek from Poland, but he did trail in that match at one point. I think it was 7-5, might even have been 8-6, but he definitely trailed. He got back to 8-8, and he went 9-8 in front again, and got pegged back to 9-9 before winning the decider.
Yeah. Swiatek made a nice shot and ended up getting snookered. Made one heck of a kick shot on the 5, and then they battled around on a few safeties. both of them playing some really nice shots. And end up, Niels pulled out the short cue and made a jump on the 5 from long distance. Popped it right on in and got out to win the match. And now back in this match at 5-4.
Yeah, there's one thing about the Terminator. I mean, he's got a ton of self-belief. Really enjoys himself. He loves winning, you know, and he doesn't really beat himself up. He doesn't carry the losses around too long. Very easy guy to like.
And he showed it in that Hill game in the last match. He missed an opening 1 ball long distance, but one he's supposed to make. And just praying to get back to the table, and really played some nice, smart, tactical shots under the situations he was in. Swice it, put him in some tough ones. And now on a bit of a timeout. So getting back into the match, maybe letting Filler think about it a bit.
Yeah, and finally poised here too at 5-4. I mean, Filler will break in the next, but that was Niels' second break and run out, and pretty timely. But he's certainly given Josh something to think about sitting in his chair, and Josh has chalked up about 4 times and all on his break cue.
Well, you know.
Got to stay busy.
Yeah, and, you know, it's how a little movement, young man. He's got nerves too, and maybe a little less anxiety than some of his elder statesmen, but getting ready for this break. And here we go. Okay, I didn't hear one down just yet. Okay, there's the 9 falling in the side, and he's going to have another nice opener. Now, what's the 3 going to do? Okay, the 3 has made this a little more tricky. Short position's awfully tough. He may have to just try and draw this back past the 4 and take a cross-side bank on the 2. Don't think he'll try to get at a 2-3 combination here. And it looks like swinging the cue ball all the way around is hard. Okay, he wants that to go a little light, so he's going to have to cut this one back. And the problem with that now, not only is the shot a little tougher, Jim, but controlling the cue ball speed to get in one of these gaps for the 3 becomes tougher. This kind of looks like to me it's going to come 1, 2, 3 rails real near the 6 if he wants to get all the way to the middle, which I think he does. Okay, he caught the 10.
Well, not the worst result.
No, and he only caught the 10. You'll notice he banked the 2 to the thick side of the pocket, so the cue ball didn't open up quite so much. But still good. Wow, this is surprising. Wow. He's not getting any better on this if he floats the 3 in. He's getting the same, about the same place. Okay, he's gotten a little funny here. 6 doesn't pass the 10. And he can't shove the cue ball to the rail, so he's going to have to follow up and just take a little more distance. Oh, he's pounding it. He is getting to the rail. Side pocket must not. Okay, he did kind of roll up. Just get off the rail and take what you can get.
He hasn't broken dry yet in the match. But there have been a couple times where he hasn't completed the break and run out.
And this is the type of shot he stays away from that I commented at before. More of that subtle maximum spin and just come off the ball kind of heavy and float towards the 8 a little bit. He'll just like that 3-ball shot going back and forth. He tends to stay away from the little higher spin shots at a subtle speed. Would rather move the cue ball with a little more force. Okay, bridging over the pocket can sometimes be a little funny.
And the break and run out, third of the match for Filler. And he's keeping his 2-rack advantage. And now it is Josh Filler to exit the CSI arena. His turn for a quick break, and we'll leave Niels Feijen to sit and think about what he just witnessed. You are watching the Predator World 10-Ball Championship. It's coming to you from the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino here in Las Vegas. One of the convention rooms. The BCA Nationals are going on all around us. There's been professional action all week. We're down to 1 table now. Day 4 here of the event. 16 players remained, 8 from the winner's bracket. And 8 from the loser's side were drawn into the 8 winners. Single elimination. The race has increased from 8 racks in the double elimination stages to 10 racks here in the single elimination. And a lot of familiar names still in the hunt.
Yeah, we've had one co-brother advance to the semifinal. They're looking to make it a family affair, and they could actually come 1-2, I believe, the way the draw's laid out, with Ko Ping Yi at the top half of the final 16 and Ko Ping Chung at the bottom half of the final 16. Have to get by a big threat Alex Pagline to do so, though.
Yeah, that'll be a replay of their winner's bracket match a couple days ago that Ko Ping Chung defeated Alex 8-6. And so Feijen with the break, trailing 6-4.
Oh, he missed it on that side again. Not as costly. Going to get a great starter on the one, and he's just, I think he made the exact same 3 he made on the last break, or at least the ones to the same pockets, not the same balls necessarily, but pretty nice starter on the one and easy shape on the 2.
One lone American in the last 8, Jeremy. Tyler Steyer. He was down to Billy Thorpe. They drew each other in the last 16, a little unfortunate, but he was down 7-5 and won the last 5 on the spin to win the match 10-7.
And both guys Billy had a great tournament, getting to the final 16 through the winner's side and really playing stellar pool. Didn't really play many close matches. Both those guys have really improved a lot, and the one thing is they're not satisfied. They're wanting to improve even more. And did this ball just fall just funny where he's got to shoot the 4 off the cushion? Oh man, it looks like it. Looks like it just got, you figured, I mean, it doesn't take about a half a centimeter, half an inch to be able to shove that ball out or go forward. And now he may have to look to draw this ball back for the side pocket.
And this table has been drawing so easy. The common theme has been overdrawing shots like this. And he just called for his extension. He just wants a little more time to settle himself and think about exactly how to execute.
Okay, that allowed him, the draw stroke allowed him to get off the rail a little bit more. And ended up quite a bit short, though, Jim, as far as, is he going to draw into this rail, into this 5, or is he going to go forward, or is he just going to float? I mean, it's a bit of a funny shot. Looks like he's queuing down on it, so he's just going to, I think, go right by it maybe with a little draw, just to the top side of the 5. That's what I was wondering, if he was going to bump it.
He's going to have to take cue ball all around the angles now.
And I think bumping the 5 just made him feel a lot more secure about pocketing that 4 in the side, cueing down on it with a little bit of authority. Oh, okay. That should be all right. It's going to rest near the rail, but has plenty of angle. Like I said, since the beginning of the match, I think a much more comfortable Niels Feijen now, not just the score telling us so, just his demeanor around the table, everything looks better.
Yeah, and his third break and run out to get back to 6-5. And both players starting to get the measure of the break.
Well, we saw obviously a bunch of hill matches, but we did see quite a few runaways in the early stages and leading up to the final 16. But we had a couple that got away from them in the final 16. But if you look around at the scores, I see a 9-9, 9-8, 9-9, 9-7.
Well,
so a lot of close matches there.
You with the alternating break format, you really do expect that you're going to get a lot of very close matches.
Well, in these final 16 definitely in form, so that promotes the closer matches as well. He's made the 1 up in the corner. He's made the 2. Is he going to get a shot on the 3? I'm not so sure, and the 4's in the way anyways.
I mean, Niels has survived a number of hill matches. The very first match of the tournament, 8-7, he beat Vilmos Foldes.
Well, he did the same thing in the 9-ball against James Aranis with a golden break, and what did he do? He went on to win the tournament. So it depends on how much of this 3-ball he can see. If he can see all of it, you got to figure he's going to bank it around. He may even call it 3 rails. I would probably call it 3 rails if I was going to bank it around. I think he can get it all to 3. Now, is he just going to follow forward, trying to put the 3 on the other side of the 5-10 and maybe squeeze him up underneath the 4 like this? And you don't think he can do it all? Not only a great decision. I'm not sure he got him completely, but I like the shot, Jim.
Yeah, showed a lot of touch.
Well, yeah, and a lot of resolve, knowing that even if he didn't get the snooker, it's probably containing and keeping Niels off of the offensive shot.
Well, if Niels can get through to this 3, it looks like he can. He's got that 9 up table. If he can see enough of the 3 to catch the top side of the side pocket and get behind that 9.
Yeah, this is, again, one of those situations. That's the shot he would play against 99% of the field. Don't let anything change what you would normally do according to just because you're playing Josh Filler. Just take the snooker. You know he's probably going to jump and hit it. You probably know he's going to kick and hit it. But the percentages are probably still in your favor. I'll tell you, I'd probably kick and bank this back up towards the 9 and take a chance at the cue ball going towards the 4. I think something lucky could happen that way. Oh, he called the 10. Wow. I'll tell you what, pretty good effort at it.
And the cue ball just ran on far enough to make a 3-4 combination tricky.
Man, and I think a hair off angle on the bank. He's got a nice safety if he wants. He could shoot through the 3 and just bank it over and roll the cue ball up right behind the 4. It's a really easy shot. Now he's going to go for the cross corner and not wasting much time doing so. Well, George, our one of the rotation in the booth here and has done a fine job. He talked about it in these matches that we've seen some leads, and most of them have held up, but we've seen a lot of comebacks in the middle of the matches, and like just said, they didn't necessarily steal the wins away. But most of them have come back to apply some pressure to the guy leading and at least made him earn it.
Well, 4-1. Josh Filler led at one stage, and right now it's looking every chance to go 6-6. So from 4-1 in front to 6-6, you've got to just feel that Niels is going to be in a little better place.
Okay, a nice shot there and very comfortable display. That's what I mean as far as getting into his routine. It's not like real long, but it's just a hair extra, making sure of his work. And now who do you like at 6-6 with Niels breaking first in this, what is ending up to be a race to 4 to get to the semifinal of the Predator World 10 Ball Championships?
I forget who I liked at the start.
Right. Well, I heard of a friendly wager y'all made on some players y'all picked, and I can't. One of y'all picked Niels. Was it you?
No, I think that was happened to be our director.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Vincent. Vincent did. That's right. That's correct. I do remember that. I think he took. George took Chang, who got defeated.
George took Chang, who got defeated. I've got the younger Co, who's playing Alex.
I got you. Well, I was.
Who would you have?
I was around a few gamblers last night. Without seeing the final draw of the final 16, I was trying to get a price if I just picked 2 or 3 players and let them have, consequently, the other 13 or 14, depending on what kind of price they laid me. I would just take 2 players. But Filler was one. Chang, of course, just the way he's been playing. And I was going to lean towards Young Ko, even though I think maybe I was going to go with Billy Thorpe just because it seemed like Billy was breaking the ball so well. He ran into a tough one today with Tyler Steyer, and there's another that could just go right on to win the tournament break. I told you yesterday I'm not so sure if anybody breaks the balls better than Tyler Steyer. Oh, my on the cue ball. Okay, so little things turning around. What looked like maybe a scratch now turns into a nice starter on the 1.
Well, just to close the book on all that, we ended up betting coffees.
Right.
And the coffee's free here. So just it's a matter of service.
That's what we had led on to. I said, y'all bet coffee. I don't think you got to pay for the coffee. He's like, no, it's the delivery.
It's the delivery. That's the key.
That's the stinger.
Yep.
Okay, so Niels in a really good spot. Okay, touchy little shot, so be sure of what you want. If you can draw by the 8 and 9 if you feel good about it. Don't think he'll contact the 8. He can come right up. He could even bump the 2 a little and be okay. The 2's really got all 6 pockets. So I wouldn't go into the 8 here like with a follow. I mean, it might be okay, but he could get a little thin on the 2 doing that. Unless he's going to go through it. Okay, he did pretty well actually.
Well, that looks real good.
And he got just the deflection off the 8 he wanted.
You know, with the score being 6-6 at this point, and both players have broken. Well, Filler's broken 6 times. He's lost 3 of his breaks. So, really, if he looks at the overall scope of this match, 6-6, it's not that bad. Even though he was 4-1 in front of one stage, now he's got to take it all into perspective and should be happy to be in the hunt here.
And it all kind of changed when he was trying to nick a 5 ball and run the cue ball, and he fouled, just outright fouled, and caught, I believe, the 7 going by.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, Jeremy. It kind of turned on him right there. And he was 4-2 up at that stage. 4-2 or 5.
I think
5. It was 5-2.
5-2, okay. Because I know he had gotten to 6-3 as well, right? With Niels winning 3 games in a row now.
Now the 6 just goes by. We had a look at it earlier.
And that's perfect position. Anytime you're shooting to a portion of the pocket, unless just absolutely necessary to get position on the next ball, you want to be pretty heavy on it. You want to be kind of staring that portion of the pocket in the face. Could have used a little more there, though. Shouldn't be a problem, but he's a little off angle, and that's the angle that the players don't like. Not really straight enough to hold it, but not a lot of angle to make the cue ball move easily. And he's bridging over. Okay, so still some work to do on these last 3. He's got to draw the cue ball back, and it may be falling a hair to the left. Don't think he can afford to try and contact a rail with the cue ball. Anytime that 8 ball starts getting away from that rail and you get pretty straight, it's pretty hard to shove the cue ball to the cushion and back out. So probably just a pinch draw shot here, maybe somewhat into the position he's in now, but maybe 6 inches to the left of it with the cue ball. Tell you, if he goes forward, he better have plenty of angle because you don't want to. Okay, maybe he does. Okay, Niels is feeling pretty nice right now. He's feeling pretty comfortable. That's pretty thin, huh? All of a sudden.
He didn't quite get the reaction on that one that he anticipated. And I think it's a little too thin.
Yeah. Well, when the guys are close to him, they'll tend to want to still cut the ball because they can be so accurate on the hit. And their knowledge tells them that this ball cuts all day. Oh, that's not going to get it. And Filler immediately got out of his chair. And he's wondering, oh, okay. He went to the jump cue. So most likely, if he does get this down with a jump cue, man, he's going to have to make some shot on the 10 ball.
Chalking up. I wonder if he'd try and even get this cushion first.
Yeah. I think that was smart. Just
give yourself a chance.
Yeah, exactly. You know, rely on that talent a little bit rather than, you know, he could hit the rail first and the ball get hopping a little bit and kind of hit it how he wants to and still let the cue ball get away or maybe off the table. Here he took the nice full hit on the 9, and like I always say, when the great players are shooting great tough shots, I want to bet on them.
These are the kind that you try and overcut before undercut?
No, just don't. You got to forget about that because he's not going to lag it. He's going to hit it with a decent speed on the cue ball. He's not going to feather it.
Come on!
So.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was an emphatic roar after knocking that one in.
Yeah, and a lot of people say you overcut it, you play it to the pro side, right? You kind of learn that as you go, as you're starting to play pool, and there's some value in that. But if you really want to become a good player or a great player, you really just concentrate and focus on the make more than anything. Now 7-6 and breaking, so.
Yeah,
probably.
Niels had the 8, 9, and 10 all wide open.
Yeah, and you know, it wouldn't have shocked me that he missed the 9. It shocked me that it was a little thicker than I thought he would have it on a miss. Oh, hit a little off. Hit a little breaking from the left. That 4 railer, though, has been the one that has helped the miss hits, meaning when they broke from the left, missed on the right, the second balls don't come close. But the 4 railer still seems to be one that's a little bit of a security blanket when it comes to miss hitting the break a touch. And quickly, Filler will. Now, one thing about this, the difference is most young guys don't get bothered too much by stuff that happens, you know, around the arena, a little bit of noise here and there. The young guys usually shoot on by. It's usually the more the veterans that get a little out of sorts by by a little noise. And a good spot here, though, to go up 8-6 and put a lot of pressure on our former world 9-ball champion from the Netherlands, from The Hague. That's where he spends most of his time in Holland.
He goes through them fast when he goes through them. That's 2 in a row. And back to 8-6 when it looked like Niels was going to be going 7-6 in front. So got to regroup and refocus, hit that reset button, does Niels Feijen.
And a very penal miss. You figure maybe a Josh with a break and run, but miss like that, Josh jumps the 9 in, makes one heck of a shot on the 10, and then gets rewarded not only with breaking them well, but getting a nice layout to get on the board quickly again, and 8-6.
And Jeremy, we're so used to looking around the other tables just to check on scores, and there are no tables in use. I don't see anyone practicing either, actually, and that's a little odd.
Well, we can't see the far tables over there, a few of them, so we may have pack a line, but they've already played some tough matches. They're in stroke. Some guys just want, if they're in stroke, they're obviously playing great. Oh my, does a 7 hang up? The 2 miss 4 rails. He's just gonna, this is a gut shot here, if there ever was one. Even before the ball stopped rolling, Josh Filler up there ready to shoot. He's got to put a little power on this one. Not much angle. And the 2 passes the 5. So really the 2 to the 3 to the 4 is about what it takes to get on the hill.
It certainly goes to the bottom left, but bottom right, maybe just over half a pocket. And he's playing the bottom right corner.
Okay, so does he pound it 2 rails? Does he pinch draw it? He's got to put a lot of draw stroke to come down past the side, and I think he can do it. Or does he float it in and just take the cut? There's nothing wrong with that either. He's got all the options, and he can do them all as well. Like, just come back to where the 3's at now. Just kind of float it in a little bit. Come out. You can handle it a little more angle than that even. Now, the problem with that is the 5. Oh, he made that was not what he wanted,
And now
he's cutting it in.
A little thinner on the 4 ball, but speed of the cue ball's everything here.
It looks like it's going to be pretty good as long as the line is all right. Oh my, look at this! Look at this! Okay. Well, he's suggesting that things didn't go his way up and down the table there. And that's just from getting out of line on the 4 ball. Just I'm surprised he's kicking that way. If he does, this will be just a rolling speed. This won't be an all-out blast, Jim. This will trying to just bank the 5 back over and let the cue ball. Okay, back in action here.
Yeah, I had to travel with that cue ball, and that was the reason the position went awry.
Yeah, and at 9-6, he would have had 2 breaks to win the match in advance. So that's got to go. Wow. Okay, so really on the 50 here for being only 10 inches away from the 6. He can hit it with low inside and wrap the cue ball around 3 rails, or he can hit it with low outside English. That would be right side spin, which I would prefer here, and just come 1 rail out, somewhat where the cue ball's at now. Okay, that looks like nice speed, holding a nice angle to naturally get off the rail with the cue ball and make the 10 just that much easier.
Well, the dry break didn't hurt him. He's still secured at 8-7, but it'll be Filler with the break in rack number 16. And he's out, ready to take him apart. Probably felt like he should have secured that rack, given that he had the first real opportunity. But
yeah, he had a great opportunity, actually. And it kind of looked like to me he went to his 3rd or 4th choice on that 3 ball. Looked like he had thought about just punching it 2 rails backwards towards the 4. Then thought about drawing it, then thought about floating it, and then decided at the last second, let me just go 2 rails back and forth, which is fine by me. That decision, nothing wrong with that. Just somehow caught the 7 with the cue ball. Didn't really see how. Didn't see a miss hit on the object ball. Okay, is this going to get a shot here? I don't know if he got a shot or not here. This is kind of unbelievable, really. I don't think he can get in there. I'm almost 100%. I kind of looked right down the barrel of it. I'm not sure he can get in there. And what kick do you roll out to? He's going to have to roll out and make the 1 somehow and get the 2 out of there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do here, Jim.
well, it's going to have to come something awful creative.
Yeah. I'd like to be able to figure out what is the right shot here. You'd like to maybe clip the 10 and cover the 6 up, but then if you leave a rail first, you're never getting it back. I mean, you hate to depend on your opponent not being able to do something with a cluster. You can maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's called his extension here already.
Yeah, and he's
No surprise, Jeremy. This takes a lot of thought.
like I said, you want to shoot the 2 into the 1 if you feel like you can put the 2 somewhere that's not going to be an offensive shot. I just don't know how you could for sure do that. Just amazing that we've seen all kinds of situations and a lot of easy starters. And then at 8-7, this comes up. Very close. He's right-handed, so should be able to reach the jump if he chooses to. He's trying to see if he can subtly swerve around the 9. Is there a kick in between the 5 and 4 to the side rail to where he can tighten it up with a little right spin? That's close. One thing is Filler can't reach this jump shot. I know that. Not lefty. He may not be able to reach the swerve shot either. Filler looked. Yeah, this is the shot I wouldn't have passed on. Can he kick down here with a little right spin? Okay. Did he look at jumping part of the 5? Is that what he's looking at? Wow. How did the cue ball get in between the 1 and the 2 and back out? And I'm not so sure if I'm Niels if I passed that shot.
Oh, that's amazing. That was amazing where the cue ball slid in and didn't contact either the 1 or the 2.
And came back out as well. It's just, wow. Now Niels has got a lot of work in this rack. Not only the elements of the situation he's in, that being 8 to 7 down, and in the quarterfinals of the World Predator World 10 Ball Championships. But see the 7 on the side rail. It does go past the 8, but I had a peek at the 6, and there's not a nice angle to get on it to get on the 7 if you shoot the 6 to the lower right. Now, if he can get position on the 6 to the lower left later in the rack, it makes it very playable.
Nice angle on the 4 here. From the 5 to the 6 would be the key. Like you said,
Yeah.
Jeremy, that 7 will go by the 8 into the corner. But he's got to get on that 6 nicely to be able to attack the 7.
And that's why he went past it right here, to be able to go to this rail and over for the short side on the 6. Now, one thing that's pretty apparent to most is doesn't need to fall on the rail with the cue ball when he shoots that 6. He needs to have most likely the bottom half of the cue ball. So speed is crucial. Oh, he needs that bounce. And with the 9 being up there also, maybe okay, maybe able to level out here and hit this with a top right English and go around all them balls and end up straight on the 7, I think. He needs a bit of right to where when he hits the side rail, he dives to that upper rail up there and doesn't really involve the 8 in the shot also. I think if he elevates, I don't like elevating here. I think you're making the shot a little tougher, and you may end up sending the cue ball towards the 9. So I think he can get away with this with just a high right ball. Okay, he's elevating. So now he's also involved in not only the 9, but if he goes clear of that, he could get at the 8 as well. And the miss as well, that's the other one that I would have worried about, as you make that ball a little bit more missable.
Well, at least he goes back to his chair knowing that he hasn't left fill or anything. Not happy that he goes back to his chair at all, but could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, and Filler needs to really be careful here now. I might just play the 6 up past the side and leave him a 6-9 combination and just lay the cue ball in the end rail. Some soft safety, of course, but hey, with the 7 pin there, just don't give up anything offensive to where he can gain position. Well, he's got to get some luck here. And he might get it, actually. He might get it, actually. Well, that's what I mean. He kind of went out of his way trying to do something much more. And that'll come with experience, reading the table, knowing the 7's so tough. If I just get the 6 where it's not playable, I'm going to get back to the table. This is the tough one, though. You got to kick and call it, Jim.
And he's called the side pocket, but
Yeah,
he'd be very happy to hit this and get it safe.
Oh, well. 6 is going to leak out a little bit, and it's actually going to offer perfect angle to fall over for the 7. So we saw one just a rack ago that we felt Filler should get on the hill with, and another one. I know it sounds crazy. Even when you get down to the final 16, you have players you like to win the tournament, and then there's usually one or two that you kind of say, well, yeah, he plays well enough to win, but he just hasn't won yet. But I really think it's anybody's ball game this last 16. That's the feeling I get this week.
Well, the hill arrives. 9-7. Niels will break. But Filler knows he's going to have a break to come, even should he lose this next coming rack.
And Niels actually had a dry break in his last. That's when we thought Filler would capitalize and get to the heel and be up 9-6, but
well, he needs a good break here.
and he's sticking to what has gotten him here. As far as I know, the last match he broke off the end rail, and it was a little milder break and got him through. Oh, that was well struck. That was the timing you're looking for, and it's going to produce results.
And if nothing else, he's going to force Josh Filler to break with success in the next. But he's got to get out here.
Yeah, and there's a little concern from the 3 to the 5. You can see the 5 on the top of your screen, way up on that top rail. Okay. Normally that would be good enough, but you can see the 8 ball there. He can usually get on the top of this 3 and just run the cue ball a couple rails, but the 8's there. So he may end up having to play short side on this 5 from out in the center of the table like that and just come 2 rails in between the 9 and 5 for short side. Now he could come 1 rail up and down with a little inside English. That's probably what he's thinking at this point. But if he gets a little thin, okay, so this is just top inside, maybe a hair of left spin. All this shot's about is making the ball, letting your stroke out, bring the cue ball 1 rail down towards the head string. Well, this is a funny shot too, because when you start to get a little flatter and level out on a lot of tables, you can put a little left spin and check the cue ball up nicely. Well, that one checked up all right. But sometimes the slick felt, it'll want to fall forward on you, and then you gain a little thin on the 6. So now this is concerning the side pocket, so he may play the 8 all the way up. Meaning if he tries to get short on the short side of the to the short pocket on the 8, that side pocket looms for a scratch of the cue ball.
And that's perfect.
Sure is. Well, Niels in unfamiliar territory, kind of on the brink of losing a match. He hasn't lost a match in some 9 days, I think it is.
Well, he hasn't lost it yet. He's been on the hill a few times, and he's had his opponent on the hill.
Right.
So he's not in unfamiliar territory in that regard.
Might call him the cardiac kid for this week. Have a lot of close matches, but squeaking out. And said has already won the Diamond Las Vegas Pro 9 ball, beating Fortunski in the final, and now 9-8 trailing world number 1, defending world 9 ball champion Josh Filler.
Yeah, and the defending world 10 ball champion
Coping
is still alive and kicking in this event.
Well, I was surprised why. I'm wondering why Wu wasn't here. I know he's highly ranked.
Yeah, he is. Good question. Wu Cha-Ching won the world 9 ball championship at 16 years of age.
Yep. And then later that year, not in the same calendar year, I don't think, but
The 8
later
ball.
that year won the 8
Yep.
ball.
Should have been in school. Everyone was hoping he was in school.
He was running school that year, Jim. He was the principal, a la Corey Deuel. All right, to break a little off. A little off. Is the 4-railer going to save him again? And it did. And a nice shot on the 1 to come 2 rails in between the 3-4 to get on the 2. And it doesn't look good for Niels Feijen. I'll tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. Looking pretty nice for if you're siding with the Germans. Main thing is stay off the rail with the cue ball right here, and I think he's going to be all right. Okay, so you can see where the work's at, Jim, from the 4 to the 6. Especially with the 4, if it's stuck on the rail, coming backwards with the cue ball can be a little difficult at times. But one thing about Josh, not only a great shot maker, really fine positional player. Okay, and he wanted to get nice and heavy. That's what you want. Now, he is a little impeded over the 7, but if you are drawing this ball when it's stuck to the rail, you want to get nice and heavy on it. It's one that gets pulled off the rail easily. The good thing about that is he didn't need to come all the way back. He knew he could shoot the 6 and swing around. He could come 1 rail with inside. He's paying attention here because he realizes the 8 doesn't pass the 10. That's okay. There's not really a bad side. As long as you don't get steep, meaning as long as you don't get really thin on the 7 one way or another, there's not really a bad side of it. All right, he's going to draw around this 8 and 10. I like that. I really like that because that's normally what you would do in most situations instead of like trying to hit it soft and laying up for some shot on the side. Okay, he did that anyways, but he killed it. Okay. But see, out of line. I thought he could hit it with low right and go to the bottom rail and spin around to the center.
Yeah, he's giving himself a little more work.
Still don't think he's going to let Niels back to the table. But it's right in between. Not a lot of angle to really move it, so he's just going to bump the 10, and I like that as well. I think a smart shot by the young man. Again, realizing how talented he is, just get down and do what he does. Is one of his bread and butters, the draw shot from some distance.
Yeah, he'll be celebrating real soon. A long, just off straight 10 for a place in the semifinals. And a date with Ko Pin Yi, the reigning world 9 ball champion, will be up against the defending world 10 ball champion. And it's there. Josh Filler, a 10-8 win in his first match and a 10-8 win here over Niels Feijen, and he will face Ko Pin Yi in the semifinals. Next up, it's going to be Alex Pagulayan against Ko's younger brother, Ping Chung. Two 10-8 matches, but Filler plays so fast.
Yeah, I know.
So 6 o'clock, that took an hour and 45 minutes. That's not bad.
No, and I think they started late, 15 minutes late because of the damn alarm went off.
That's right. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jim. I'll see you in a little while.
All right,
So,
pal.
I'm gonna
Go
get
get some-
underneath my blanket.
Get some dinner.
You gonna go thaw out? It's cold.